Episode 35, Back to School. Last month, over 1,000 graduates gathered on the central lawn of Gimnasia Herzliya, their voices mixing Hebrew and laughter under the late afternoon sun. The school was celebrating its 120th anniversary, marking more than a century since it became the first educational institution in the land of Israel to teach entirely in Hebrew. The gathering stretched across the grass where current students normally spend their breaks. Gray-haired men in pressed shirts stood beside middle-aged women checking their phones, while younger graduates in their 30s and 40s moved towards the crowd with the easy familiarity of people returning to a place that shaped them. Name tags revealed graduation years with alumni from classes spanning 7 decades, including some graduated in the late 1940s, even before the establishment of the State of Israel. The school's origin story begins in 1905 in Jaffa. Dr. Yehuda Leib Matman Cohen and his wife, Fania, established a school where Jewish children would learn mathematics, literature, and science, not in German, Russian, or French, which was acceptable at the time, but in Hebrew, a language that had barely been spoken in daily life for almost 2,000 years. The building stood in the narrow streets of Old Jaffa, close enough to the port that students could hear ships arriving from European cities mostly, carrying more Jewish immigrants. In 1909, as Tel Aviv was established north of Jaffa, the school moved to Herzl Street in the new city. The building for the new school was designed to mimic the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, a cultural cornerstone and a national symbol. The elaborate building stood for almost 50 years at the end of Herzl Street in Tel Aviv until it was demolished and replaced by the first skyscraper in the city, the Shalom Tower. The school moved to a simply designed building in another part of town on Jabotinsky Street, with its metal gate designed in the shape of the former building. Albert Einstein visited the school in 1923, walking through its corridors with Tel Aviv's first mayor, Meir Dizengoff. The archival photograph shows Einstein in his characteristic hair and formal coat, surrounded by students and teachers in the school's courtyard. By then, the experimental idea of Hebrew education had proven itself. The school had become a magnet for Jewish families throughout the region who wanted their children educated in what they saw as the language of the future. More and more Jewish families sent their kids from Europe to the land of Israel to study at the Gimnasia Herzliya. The school's 120th anniversary booklet lists the school's remarkable track record. 2 prime ministers, 2 chiefs of staff, including the current one, and over 80 Israel Prize winners. Students at the school pass through hallways flanked with photographs showing famous faces from different eras, politicians, writers, judges, and military leaders, all sharing the common experience of being a student at the Gimnasia Herzliya. The current mayor of Tel Aviv was also the headmaster of the school before being elected. During the anniversary ceremony, speakers noted how the school's emphasis on Hebrew culture and liberal views had rippled outward, influencing the character of Israeli society. Performances by the school's band and the choir of Tel Aviv Scouts, as well as a stand-up comedy show, were not only entertaining, but further solidified the realization that graduates sitting on the lawn represented generations who had witnessed the transformation of Hebrew from a sacred language into the living tongue of a modern nation. The language that began in a rented building in Jaffa now fills the air of an entire city, heard in coffee places, construction sites, tech offices, and playgrounds. Walking through Tel Aviv today, passing by countless schools and cultural institutions that now take Hebrew for granted, I can't help but feel at awe. Perhaps the most remarkable achievement of the Gimnasia Herzliya isn't the individual success of its graduates, but the society that they created. My name is Tomer Shlush, and I've been guiding tours in Tel Aviv since 2008. I started out of fascination with the story of my family. The Shlush family was one of the founding families of Tel Aviv. My ancestors built this city, and I'm telling its story. The best way to get to know Tel Aviv better is by purchasing one of my audio tours. Here's one way to experience that. Casa Susanna opened its doors only a few months ago as Tel Aviv's newest boutique hotel. The property's defining feature is its naturally lit patio courtyard in which guests can enjoy tranquility despite the central location. Guests can also indulge themselves in complimentary wine from leading Israeli wineries. The hotel bar is open until the late hours of the night. It's a kind of adults-only getaway, centrally located yet calmly intimate. The hotel's spa includes a treatment room offering massages of up to 1 hour and will soon expand to more wellness amenities, including yoga space, sauna, and jacuzzi. Future developments include a street-level restaurant and rooftop terrace with panoramic city views, and more to come. Breakfast takes place in a nearby coffee place. The proximity to Carmel Market, Nachalat Binyamin, Neve Tzedek, and the Mediterranean coastline provides immediate access to the city's essential experiences. But the price you pay for the prime location is quite affordable in comparison to other hotels in the area. Staying the night at Casa Susanna, you're ideally located to take my Trail of Independence audio tour, which traces the footsteps of Tel Aviv's founders along Herzl Street and Rothschild Boulevard. After the breakfast you'll have at the nearby coffee place, you can walk to the starting point of the audio tour. This historical walking experience reveals the incredible transformation from the world's first modern Jewish city, founded in 1909, into today's startup nation capital. The tour explores preserved houses, the Hall of Independence, where Israel's statehood was declared, the Haganah Museum, and the Great Synagogue of Tel Aviv, uncovering the secrets behind the architectural landmarks that witnessed the birth of a nation. Of course, this tour also includes the place where the Gimnasia Herzliya once stood. Embark on this audio experience to better understand the revolution that the first school in Tel Aviv was part of. I'll also share with you why this important city landmark was regrettably bulldozed and what we have learned since its demolition. You can make sure you've downloaded my Trail of Independence audio tour before you head out, or you can download it on the go if you're set with a data package allowing for uninterrupted internet access. There's a link in the show notes to purchase my audio tour, The Trail of Independence, Tracing the Origins of Modern Tel Aviv. If you have any questions, you'll find all the ways to contact me on telaviv.tours. Tel Aviv as one word, no space, no hyphen, and there's a link in the show notes for your digital convenience. Visitors to Tel Aviv this November 2025 will be able to catch the concert simply titled Bach, marking 340 years since the birth of famous composer Johann Sebastian Bach. This is a contemporary interpretation put together by the local Revolution Orchestra. Rather than presenting traditional Baroque performances, the production transforms Bach's compositions into new creations, arrangements, variations, and improvisations performed by a choir and 3 virtuoso soloists playing unexpected instruments. Under conductor Roy Oppenheim's direction, the performance promises to be more rock than Baroque. Exemplifying Tel Aviv's tendency to reimagine classical culture through a distinctly modern lens. The Bach concert will take place at the Israeli Opera House in Tel Aviv, and I find this to be a great opportunity to list the major classical institutions of the city. These institutions, arranged chronologically by their founding, tell the story of how a young city became a mature cultural metropolis. Habima Theater, founded in 1917, represents the oldest Hebrew language theater institution. Surprisingly, it wasn't established in Tel Aviv, but in Moscow, on the backdrop of the Communist Revolution. actors, directors, and stage workers finally immigrated to the land of Israel in the late 1920s and settled in Tel Aviv, where Habima struggled with other local theaters until it came triumphant with its expressionist theater productions, mostly dealing with the Jewish experience in modern times and the dilemmas it presents. After the establishment of the State of Israel, the theater was viewed as the national theater, and the prestige of its status was also evident in the building in which it was housed. With 4 halls totaling more than 1,000 seats, Habima draws culture fans from across the entire country, with some performances translated to English for non-Hebrew speaking spectators. Literally a stone's throw away from Habima is the Charles Bronfman Auditorium, known locally as Heichal HaTarbut, meaning the Hall of Culture. In this brutalistic jam of concrete and glass resides the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra. Founded in 1936 by Polish-Jewish violinist Bronislaw Huberman, its inaugural concert was conducted by Italian maestro Arturo Toscanini. Nearby streets now bear their names. The orchestra provided refuge for Jewish musicians dismissed from European orchestras during the Nazi era. I'm also proud to note that one of the key players in the foundation of the Philharmonic Orchestra was Moshe Shlush, my grandfather's uncle. In his deeds, he saved Jews from Europe right before the outbreak of the Second World War and laid the base for this cultural bedrock here in Tel Aviv. If you're a fan of classical music, you'll feel here right at home. Unlike Habima Theater, the Kamari Theater was already founded in Tel Aviv, not abroad. Instead of depicting Jewish life in the diaspora, the Kamari presented Israelis a mirror of their lives here in the land of Israel. Founded in 1944, a few years before Israeli independence was declared, it rejected the expressionist style to provide a more realistic depiction of Israeli life and social issues. Since 2003, the theater has operated from the Tel Aviv Performing Arts Center, sharing the same modernist building with the Israeli Opera House. The opera also has its roots in pre-state Israel, but its current reincarnation began in the 1990s. Since then, it presents productions sung in original languages with Hebrew and English subtitles to a loyal fan base. The Batsheva Dance Company started back in the 1960s, but only in 1989 did it receive a house adequate to its seminal impact on Israeli culture. Famous Israeli choreographer Ohad Naharin developed the revolutionary Gaga dance style within the dance halls of the Suzanne Dalal Center for the Performing Arts at the heart of the Neve Tzedek neighborhood. This movement language, Gaga, has influenced dance education worldwide, and the Suzanne Dalal Center became a cultural magnet. The local Batsheva dance group has achieved international recognition as one of the world's leading contemporary dance ensembles. Halfway between Habima Theater and the Kamari Theater, film fans founded in 1973 the Tel Aviv Cinematheque. The postmodernist architecture of the building makes it stand out. Films from all over the world are screened in the numerous halls, but its uniqueness lies in showcasing the local film industry. Though international film festivals take place here quite often, specifically the Film Festival for Students, TLV Fest for LGBTQ+ movies, and the Doc Aviv Documentary Film Festival, it's mostly seen as the bedrock of Israeli cinematography. Here you can appreciate the mostly Hebrew-speaking cinema with English subtitles, including Oscar-winning Israeli director Moshe Mizrahi, for example, who created one of the most influential movies in Israel, The House on Shlush Street. Yes, this one is titled after the street in Neve Tzedek that bears the name of my family. I also studied cinema at the Tel Aviv University, so I'm also a fan, and I rarely miss a visit to the Tel Aviv Cinematheque. Gesher was founded in 1991 by a group of actors who left Russia in the time that the USSR was falling apart. About 1 million Jews made Aliyah and found themselves leaving the USSR to Israel in the 1990s. The name Gesher, bridge in Hebrew, is seen as the newcomers' wish to bridge over the cultural gap with longtime Israelis. The theater company found its permanent home at Noga Theater in Jaffa. Many shows are local productions of classical Russian plays, played in Hebrew with subtitles for Russian-speaking Israelis. Gone are the days in which a Hebrew school is considered a novelty. The language of the Bible grew to be the national language of Israel. Mother tongue for millions of speakers, Hebrew has based itself in the cultural network of Tel Aviv. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear from me again when the next episode comes out next week. Until then, I am Tel Aviv tour guide Tomer Shlush, signing off and hoping to see you soon in Tel Aviv.